You're in.
Okay, I'd like to call the village board meeting to order for Tuesday, March 26th. Roll call, please.
Trustee Allison Williams.
Present.
Trustee Paul.
Here.
Trustee Mark Williams.
Here.
Trustee Melcheski.
Here.
President Kardowski.
Here.
Trustees Zerbal and Bukowski are excused this evening.
Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember all the men and women around the world in uniform. Okay, I do have one change to the agenda. I would like to move number 10D to 7A, please.
Move to approve the agenda as revised.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve that agenda and the change in it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Action on open and closed minutes from February 26th and March 12th. February 26th regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 5B, Village Board Special Meeting, March 12th, 2019. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carried. 6A, comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Is there anybody out there that would like to say anything that's not on the agenda? Anything to discuss that's not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move forward. Number 7, presentation of the check to the Ashwaubenon Historical Society. Okay, first of all, I wanted to say that the village has a system that everybody has to watch a little video once a month, and it's all on how to keep your IT system secure, and all the employees watch it. And for our group, the size group that we have, we were the most attendant on the internet for that. So because of that, they gave us a $5,000 that we could choose to put to any 501c3 in the village, and we chose to give that to the Historical Society. So come on up and we'll give you the check.
Oh.
Come on up. Group shot, group shot. Anyone who's in the Historical Society, come on up.
Go in the back. Go in behind. Go in behind.
Ralph, you're going in back.
We squished just a little bit more. Come on, guys. Spend so much quality time together.
Well, absolutely. I emailed you. Yep. Oh, I have an email address for you. Okay. Yep, we're golden. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so 7A is actually 10D, which is the new self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA equipment. Chief.
Tonight we have a little presentation. In the 2019 budget, the village appropriated approximately $250,000 to purchase our new self-contained breathing apparatus. And with that, our breathing apparatus has to be replaced every 15 years by federal standards. And by replacing it, it entails replacing 28 packs, 56 bottles, 85 breathing masks, along with 4 RIT packs. At this time, Commanding Randy Tews was the chair of the committee. Officer Pawlowski was also a member of the committee, and they're just going to go over the newest technology. We took delivery of them January, and we're through our, we had about 2 months of training, and we're putting them in service in the May. So I'll turn this over to Randy.
All right, thanks, Chief. So as Chief Dunning said, about 18 months ago, we started a committee in public safety. We had to replace all our SCBAs. There were 6 of us on that committee. Some of the things that we wanted to really stress was cost per ownership, safety, and then being really familiar with the product that we already have. So we've been with SCBA, MSA for approximately 30 years now, and we really didn't want to go away from them. So when we looked at these, cost of ownership, with the warranty being 15 years bumper to bumper, that's a big deal out in the industry. The pack itself, just the pack itself, is $5,000. The air bottle itself is $980, and the mask is $300. So you can see there's a lot of investment in these. Real quick, Officer Pawlowski will show you what the control module looks like. Back in the olden days, when I first started, all it was a dial. They now have both. It's LCD and also an analog dial, so you can see all kinds of different stuff. When it's dark, can't see any smoke, this lights up, and you can see what you have left, how much air you have left, the time that you have left in the room. You'll actually turn it around now, and you'll see on the back of it, when we talk about safety features, we have what's called buddy lights, and they light up green. So if you're in front of me, I see your lights are green, I know you're okay on air. As it goes down through your air, they turn yellow and then red. So you know that your partner is running low on air. The other thing that we incorporated these that we don't have currently is a buddy breathing system. So if somebody is low on air and we're in that environment, we can reach out to our partner, hook our tank up to theirs, equalize out the tanks, and we can leave that atmosphere. Currently, we do not have that. So once we put these in service, it's going to be a real nice feature to have. Hopefully, we'll never have to use it. But again, it's one of the things was safety, and that's at the top of it. Another thing that we have officers who are 6'4" all the way down to 5'4". And currently, our backpacks that we have are standard sized only. This is variable, and it easily slides up and down, as you can see, for how tall you are. And it swivels on its axis as well. So that's a nice feature. If you're wearing these for 2 or 3 hours, your back is kind of sore. So now we can eliminate some of that. Another feature that we have on this is the quick connect system. It pops off the air, and you get right back on air when you have to refill it. I'm just going to charge. And then that's right, we'll leave that. So we have that, and then we also have the amplified speaking device here. So that really helps amplify our sound when you're talking on the radio. You can hear other people with that feature. We also plan for the future. One of the things that you can do with this is Bluetooth capability through our radios. You can also locate firefighters on a scene. It sends out a signal, so you can get a laptop that has a program in it. You can monitor all your firefighters on the scene. You can monitor their air. So we plan for the future. Those are things that can integrate really easily with this new device here. So with that, I think that's all we have to kind of show it. We want to thank, obviously, the board and the public. As you know, these things are not cheap. And for a 15-year investment, we were able to get the cost under $250,000 down to $243,000. When we first started out, we were at the $300,000 mark. We were able to cut out 4 packs to even get it down to $250,000. They were able to make other deals that got it down to $243,000. So I think we did a nice job with it. Everybody's going to like it, and hopefully we'll get them in service soon.
I would like to say that when we originally found out that we had to replace these, the estimate of what they thought it was going to cost was like in the $350,000 range. So to get it at $243,000, you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
So
You know, you fellas with your gear on has a lot of weight with just the gear. What does that unit there add to your weight of what you're carrying on your body?
Yeah, I would say about 30 pounds.
Well, that is 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why I got to hit that diet.
nice.
I was going to say, hey, I can do that December through February.
Any other questions?
No, thanks for not from me, but
All right, thank you.
thank you. Thanks. Okay. Number 8, written communications or announcements. There were 2 written communications. I'll just touch on what they are. One of them was an individual from Green Bay sent me a letter that she's very concerned about our mall. So I sent her back a note and said that I would forward this on to the mall and our economic development team, and that we don't have a lot of control over what happens at the mall. But, you know, she had some suggestions of, like when her and her husband go shopping, she would prefer to have a Shields so that her husband can go shop at Shields while she goes shops at the the women's store, so then he wouldn't be so hurrying her along. So some great information. I thought it was a great share, so I passed that on. And the other one we have tonight on the docket, that sidewalks, and there is an individual that wanted to voice their opposition to the sidewalks in front of their business. So we'll touch on that once we get to the sidewalk situation. So you all have a copy of that. Okay. Number 9, action on the consent agenda. Does anybody want anything taken? It's operator's license, change of agent for just down from the stadium, DBA Stadium View Sports Bar and Grill, general fund financials, unaudited 2018, budgeted expenditures, and department reports for March.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action items, 10A, action on Class B beer, Class B liquor license for Big Top Ashwaubenon LLC.
Pretty self-explanatory. Mr. John Fonta, Vice President of Big Top, is here if you have any questions for him. They are the operators of the Green Bay Booyah, as well as the Voyagers. And before you is consideration for Class B beer, Class B liquor license.
Move to approve.
Motion and a second to approve that Class B beer, Class B liquor for Big Top Ashwaubenon LLC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 10B, action to amend license premise description PMI Entertainment Group.
Before you is a request by PMI, Vice President Brad Foytik is available if you have any questions for him. Simply stated, as you know, Brown County will be building, with the assistance of the Ashwaubenon CDA, a new exposition center here in Brown County. The wrecking ball, if you will, commences April 8th, starting with the former Packer Hall of Fame, followed by the arena and Shopko Hall. Thus, PMI is losing space for some of their operations, and for a temporary time frame, until the new expo is built, scheduled for completion January of 2021. They would like to amend their premise description, which is before you this evening.
I got a question, I guess. What is PMI losing as far as when the demolition happens? Because they're adding a complete whole area of parking lot, basically, that I think they have it in the Bart Star Plaza right now, but it's not in the old arena or Shopko Hall, is it?
Really, the gist of this is to create, during the transition of the new construction, is to, with the parties that we would host primarily on Packer weekends in Shopko Hall or in Brown County Arena, or in the grass tented areas, to allow us to keep those evergreen ports of business of ours. So contracts we've held for, in some cases, 25 years with clients of ours to retain them during those times.
In Shopko Hall and the arena?
Those buildings will be gone. So
I
where we've
understand that.
hosted them in the past, we're in those spaces that are now going to be gone during the construction period. So our ability to retain those, again, primarily on Packer home games, to move those across the street for lights.
So where are they gonna move all the busing and all that stuff that's in there right now?
That's the trade. Currently, we do all bus parking in the back of the rec center. As of last year, all the buses moved to the back. So we would obviously eliminate some of the parking to retain some of those parties.
Maybe to clarify, it's more important to them, is what they're saying, to have the party space, if you will, or the ability to host the groups rather than their vehicles or their buses. But a lot of parts and pieces are all missing in terms of not just the buildings, but also they're also trying to maximize the space that they have for staging. So they're losing a lot in the short term, and it's really just an adjustment in the short run to kind of try and keep as much business going until we get the new expo up and running in January 2021.
Okay.
With this permit, does that also include your temporary housing that you're going to have across the street? Does that move, any reason to move over there, or are they going to be serving liquor over there?
Well, that's what,
In Imperial itself.
In the Imperial Facility,
No, in the temporary facility.
Imperial is the temporary facility for their office space.
Right.
And then the parking lot next door is where the expanded space for the, essentially they'll put tents and other things in the parking lot between the Nitschke Field and the old Imperial building.
That parking lot goes more to the back than on the side, don't it?
Yes, it goes more towards the back. Yes, it runs north to
To the-
south.
Not the Imperial site.
Yeah, it's
though,
not
Gary.
the Imperial
Not
part.
the
It's the
Imperial
po-
site.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's
yeah,
not
that's
that.
not part of this, just the
That
parking
has
lot.
nothing to do with.
It has nothing to do.
yeah,
Okay,
we will
all right,
not be
that's what-
hosting,
that's
we will
what
not
I'm
be
trying
hosting
to
any formal
understand.
parties that I'm aware of in the Imperial site. That's just our office transfer. That's
Just,
where we
okay,
move.
okay,
Correct.
all right.
If no other discussion, I'd move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the amended license premise description for PMI Entertainment Group. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 10C, action regarding.
Well, hold on one second. We're gonna have to figure something out to do with all those buses, because they parked a hell of a lot of buses in that area.
Just for clarification, last year, all buses that parked on Packer game days and the lots that we had control over in conjunction with the Packers were moved to the backside of the rec center. A majority
There
of
was
that
still a
parking
lot
was
of
still-
buses and motorhomes over there last year. I'm right across the street.
No, and I'm aware of where you are, certainly. But I know, last year, we moved the majority of them to the backside. So that was, for our convenience, most of them were party-related to us, too.
Yeah.
So we tried to focus singularly on vehicles being in that lot, just because of the parking issues with buses and the tightness of it. So we just wouldn't sell that parking to vehicles moving forward if we're going to allot it for that purpose.
Okay, there's
Isn't,
a lot of buses that would come in.
isn't
for
there
game days,
a chunk to the south of that that is actually owned by the Packers?
Correct.
Correct.
So there's the gate, 180 feet off of your street, to that
Right.
south side is
Oh, that's even
That's
tighter
the
yet.
Packers,
Packer parking. That
Yeah.
we don't touch.
Right.
yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 10C, action regarding requested site plan review for an addition to the stadium view at 1963 Holmgren Way, parcel VA-41-2-7. Okay, Mr. Eric again.
As Mary said, the construction product up for approval tonight is a two-story addition at the Stadium View Bar and Grill located at 1963 Holmgren Way, which is within the Sports Entertainment District, requiring village board approval. The addition has already been approved by Site Plan and Plan Commission. The addition is going to have a base footprint of 2,313 square feet, a slight vestibule addition on the west side, a new south ballroom entrance of 300 square feet, and the upper floor with some outdoor seating will be 2,982 square feet. All the building materials meet site plan, corrugated metal panels, masonry, and there are concealed fasteners. All rooftops are screened, so it was pretty cut and dry. I don't know if the board has any questions.
All right, I think we all have this memorized by now. If there's no other questions, I'll move to approve the addition to the stadium view at 1963 Holmgren Way, parcel VA 41-2-7.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the site plan for the addition to the stadium view on Holmgren Way. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations, Bob. 10E, action on 2019 Public Works pickup truck. Mr. Burr.
All right, good evening. The pickup truck was budgeted for the street department to replace the 1997 pickup truck. So we keep these trucks for quite some time. We solicited quotes from several different dealerships and received quotes back from 2 dealerships for 4 different models, 2 Ford, 2 Chevrolet. The lowest quote that met all the specifications was from Ewald Chevrolet for $23,392. Staff recommends we go with that quote.
Move to approve as presented?
Second. Motion and a second to approve as presented. Before we take the vote, I just want to say, I always say this whenever we buy trucks and dump trucks and all those wonderful things. Big kudos to our guys, our mechanics out in the garage and everything for how they take such great care of our trucks. I mean, we are replacing quite an old 1997 truck, so it's a good deal. So, anyway, we have motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye. Or, excuse me, for 23,392. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, 10F, Element Way Development and Wahby Lane Sidewalk Bid Award. This, Mr. Martin will talk to us about this. This is the one landowner, I've talked with the son and I've talked with the owner. The owner was unfortunately on his way to Florida. I told him I would get in touch with him and meet him on site. I met the son on site last week. They had some concerns. They would like the sidewalk on the other side, and Mr. Martin will explain why that isn't necessarily a possibility. So we'll work with them and we'll work through it, but we are awarding the bid tonight, and I told them that we would be doing that.
So what this is in regards to, folks, is it's 2 projects. So if you remember, in 2018, we had designed the improvements for what was William Charles Court. It's now called Element Way, and that's going to hook out and attach to Marvell Lane. That project was designed last year, and it was put on hold till this year because they were constructing the first unit, and where we needed to put the utilities in the road in was where they needed to set the crane and do a lot of work. So we delayed that project to this year, got it designed, excuse me, and at the same time to kind of give us economies of scale as part of the TIF funding for this year, there was the last stretch of sidewalk on Wahby Lane, and that's what Mary's referring to. It's a section of sidewalk from Ridge Road down to Allied Street. So basically from the lube oil place on the north side of the road, past Hireman, and past Stein's Gardens and Gifts on the north side. There's sidewalk west of Ridge Road going to Verkaderen, and then there's a trail on the south side that goes out to the industrial park and hooks up to the industrial park trail. The sidewalk that this all ties into is on the north side of the road, basically from Quick Trip, and that sidewalk goes all the way to the city of Green Bay, I believe. It goes all the way down Oneida Street and all the way to the city, to the stadium and on past. So as part of the design and in meeting with the property owners, once we had a design pulled together, the reason for having the sidewalk on the north side is basically because that's where we're tying in our sidewalk. The residential neighborhood that would feed this area is located on the north side and west of Ridge Road and has sidewalk that feeds in there. There are utility conflicts on the south side and a few more driveways which cause safety issues in terms of sidewalk usage. So that's kind of a secondary and tertiary reason, if you will, as to why the sidewalk was located on the north side. All told, we bid this project out last week, opened bids, had 2 pre-qualified bidders, both that have worked in the village before, both reputable firms, and the low bid for the project was Vinton Construction in the amount of $702,890.90. Now that's doing both parts of this project, the Element Way project and the sidewalk project, and that would be our recommendation for you. And I'll quit talking and open it up to any questions.
So is that stretch of sidewalk, that is not plowed by the village though, correct?
That stretch of sidewalk would be plowed by the property owners, not by the village, correct?
Okay.
The section west of there is not. Actually, along Oneida Street through that stretch, none of it is.
I'll make a motion we award the bid to Vinton Construction for $702,890.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to award the bid for Element Way Development and Wahby Lane Sidewalk bid to Vinton Construction for $702,890.90.
One other question. This is funded through TIF, not our general fund?
Correct.
Okay.
We had a roughly, for the 2 projects, about 1.1 million. The bids come in at about 702. There's about another 150 to 200,000 in some previous engineering and some utility construction. So we're still forecasting to be under both of those budgets.
Okay. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. G, Ashwaubenon and Mansell Flat Aquatic Enhancements. Mr. Rex.
This is for the work at Ashwaubenon and Mansell Flats. Bid opening was earlier this month. You can see by the bid tab on page 105 that QSP Utility was the low bidder. We broke it down into different alternates to make sure that we'd be able to award a bid this time, which happened. We got some really good quotes compared to the other 2 times that we bid. What this would do is would make 2 basically fishing shoals on the north side of Ashwaubenon Park, allow for some logs to be put into the shoals for some fish habitat, as well as over at Mansell Flats, it would put in 2 pass-through pipes into the seawall that's there, as well as also help out with some fish habitat in the water. This is part of the whole NRDA GLRI grant process. So this is really the meat of that process, of that grant.
Rex, this all started when Mansell Flats was discussed on building, wasn't it? Goes back that far?
Farther.
Farther? I remember talking about this 2
Yeah,
years ago, 3 years ago.
We've been working on this one for a while.
I was going to say, it's been around for a while. All right. All right, if there's no other question, I'll move to approve the enhancement at Mansell Flats Aquarium along with the Ashwaubenon Park.
I'll second.
have a motion and a second to award the bid to QSP, right?
Correct.
Right, that's what you want, Gary?
Oh, yes, I didn't scroll down that far. Yes.
And that's okay with the second, Mike?
Yep, it would be alternate bid number 2.
All right, for $187,100.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second to award the bid to QSP Utility for $187,100. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
10H, part-time employee wage scale. Mr. Gregg.
We talked, I'm just going to jump in here, sorry. Voice not deep enough. We talked at budget time of adjusting our part-time pay scale and really converting it into kind of a formalized step process. What we would like to do is, in the past, every 5 years, we realize we're behind in our wages for our part-time seasonal type employees, and then we have to do a bunch of work to try and catch that up and figure out how to do it in the budget. What we would like to do is move towards having this scaled system. In large part, everybody's scale stayed where that type of position was previously. We've modified some job descriptions, and Greg can really answer the nitty-gritty details as he did the laboring or of all this coordination and combination and reduction. But essentially what we're doing is a step program where the base rate for each of these positions would get an annual increase per the budget at January 1st. Keep in mind, most of these positions are 3 or 4 month positions. And then what we've done historically is if somebody's a lifeguard, let's just say they make $10 an hour, if they come back the next year, they would get 25-cent raise. So we have these additional steps that are based on 25-cent increments. But say that person, let's say the base rate is $10 and we would give a 2% increase. The following year, it would be $10.20 for the first person's, the entry-level position. The next person would get $10.20 plus the 25 cents if they return, and that would happen for we have a 5-step process in there. We're really finding it difficult to recruit for a lot of different positions. One of them that is rearranged in here and that has a larger increase of about $3.50 is our fire inspector position. That works about 1,200 hours or so per year. But we're really having a hard time filling our current vacancies just because the people can make more money in the private sector doing the same type of job. So overall, we're just looking for approval of this, and also ideally the concept that each budget year we would kind of stick with this so we have better ability and consistency in terms of our hiring of part-time and seasonal help going forward.
If no other questions, I'd move to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the part-time employee wage scale.
Oh, I got a question though.
Okay.
Quick. Rex, are we having problems hiring at any of the summer positions as far as pool staff or parkies and that sort of thing at these wages?
I think since we enacted this, which was, it kind of started a little bit at the beginning of the year in terms of advertising it, the numbers have been pretty good. We've been able to come in. There's still a few that we're still struggling to, but I don't think it's necessarily due to the wages. It might be more just towards the actual job itself. So the wage definitely is helping out, though.
It just seems to be, it's harder and harder to get employees.
It is.
That I don't know if we're getting.
I would probably say 10 or 15 years ago, I'm just going to say a park maintenance position, we used to get 20 or 30 applications easily, and now it's definitely less than that. With iSolve, we're bringing in more people, but with iSolve, it kind of goes across the board throughout the whole Green Bay area as well. So it's helped out.
Same thing with lifeguards. I mean, how do we compare to Green Bay at these wages then?
We are, I believe, a little bit ahead of Green Bay, equal to the city of De Pere, right around in there. I think there kind of need to take a look at the facility. We've got a great facility to work in, and our aquatic coordinator does a great job in terms of making, quite honestly, the staff feel welcome, and it's almost like a family working there. So thank goodness Melody's been doing a great job, and while we're always looking for more lifeguards, we're not short of lifeguards as some of the other communities are.
Okay.
And we're still accepting applications for certain positions. Parkies, day camp, special children's program, I believe, still has an opening. So we just go on ashwaubenon.com and take a look at the available positions.
Okay.
If Rex is going to put a plug out there, we're looking for him in Public Works also. And I see 2 young guys over there. When they get of age, we'll be happy to find positions for you.
Well, that's why, I mean, I know that it's hard to find them, anybody, I mean, and
It's actually, Rex hit it right on the button. The past 5 years, we've gone from having a plethora to having to go out and recruit and find people. It's been a real big change the past 5 years.
Okay.
Well, one of our neighboring communities had a job fair last weekend, and the turnout was really small, I understand, from the press they got out of it. So we're fortunate to have people come up and get some jobs. And you 2 young guys want to get an application in by the time you're as of age, we'll definitely need you.
I can tell you, I live it, breathe it every single day. And the next 5 to 10 years, it's only going to get worse, so.
Yep. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the part-time employee wage scale. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Mary, we can also use some experienced help, too.
Yes. I agree. Yes, crossing guards. We need crossing guards, too. Okay, 10I, possible discussion and action on hotel registration ordinance 03-1-19 and resolution R3-1-19, amending village bond schedule.
Okay, what you have before you tonight is a proposed ordinance that would require various lodging facilities, whether they be hotels, motels, short-term rentals, anyone basically providing overnight stays would be required by ordinance to maintain a list of their guests and their personal contact information. And really what this is geared towards is for law enforcement in the event that they would need that information for law enforcement purposes. They could obtain that from the lodging provider based upon law enforcement's request. And so what the proposed ordinance does is creates that obligation on the lodging provider. And in addition, what we have is a proposed resolution that would amend the village bond schedule to set a citation fine amount for $691, which is similar to our public nuisance citations as well. And this would be geared towards, in the event that the lodging provider would fail to comply with law enforcement's request, it would be possible that in law enforcement's discretion, they could issue a citation based upon that non-compliance. This is also something that has been discussed with the Lodging Association in the area. As contained in the packet, the Lodging Association has expressed their support for this proposed ordinance as well.
Do the other municipalities around us have the same ordinance?
No, we are the first ones in this area. The genesis, or kind of one of the original places where this draft ordinance came from, is Oak Creek down by Milwaukee. And so we're the first one in this area to begin to implement this.
How long are you asking? I don't see any timeline in there to keep these records.
There is no, I guess, specific request. We would defer to the provider themselves.
Yeah, the retention of the records is the hotel, and we're not requiring them. I mean, if the guest checks out the next day, they could destroy the record. But it's not a public safety of the village to maintain those records, and we're not putting that onus on the establishment.
So it's not a long-term deal then?
No.
Oh,
And
oh.
We're dealing with sight unseen. We get called there's a disturbance, a suspicious smell. That's what we're there for. It's not going back days later and trying to scrub records that way. We're trying to handle things up front when things are happening in the now moment.
Okay. There's no other questions. I'll move to approve the ordinance 3-1-19.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to split the two? Okay, right?
You
Or
can
should
take
we
them
do
both together.
Put them both together? Sure. Okay, Gary, do you want to finish that?
All right, and resolution R3-1-19, amending village bond schedule.
Okay,
And then I'll second it.
okay,
Oh.
thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve those. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 10J, proclamation declaring April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day in the village of Ashwaubenon.
Just a general proclamation, as we do similar to every year, from our forester. We are considered a Tree City USA. We need to continue to do the Arbor Day Proclamation to be able to have that distinguishing title. And then we also involve the 5th grade students from Valley View and Pioneer School in terms of tree planting.
I'll make a motion we approve the proclamation officially declaring April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day in the village of Ashwaubenon.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the proclamation declaring April 26th as Arbor Day. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any items for next agenda? If you have any, call the village office.
Number 12 on the agenda, closed session items. During the meeting, the village board of the village of Ashwaubenon may convene into closed session pursuant to A, Wisconsin statute section 19.851E for the purpose of 1, possible discussion and action on deliberating or negotiating the investing of public funds regarding the development of parcel VA 162 related to tax incremental district number 3 where competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. 2, possible discussion and action on deliberating or negotiating the investing of public funds regarding the development of parcels VA 460-P-114 and VA 460-P-114-1 related to tax incremental district numbers 3 and 5 where competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. 3, possible discussion and action on purchasing public properties and/or deliberating over negotiating the investing of public funds regarding the purchase of parcel HB 904, where competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. B, Wisconsin statute section 19.851C for the purpose of possible discussion and action on considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of public safety employee personnel matters over which the village board has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. C, Wisconsin statute section 19.851F for the purpose of possible discussion and action on considering employee requests and financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons except where parens B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations. The village board may thereafter reconvene into open session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 1985 sub 2 to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda.
Move to go to closed session?
Second.
Motion and a second to go into closed session. Voice.
Roll call.
please.
Roll call. Trustee Allison Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Paul.
Yes.
Trustee Mark Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Melchesky.
Yes.
President Kardowski.
Yes.
We are in closed session.